What is your full name?
Charles Edward Riley.
Okay, did your parents name you after anyone?
My middle name is Edward after uncle. We had an uncle Ed, Edward. I never knew he was my uncle. I just used to see him when I walked down the street. Say, "Hey, Uncle Ed." I didn't know he was uncle.
Okay, let me see. What did people call you as a child?
Charles Edward,
Okay. And then where were you born?
Pineville, Louisiana.
Did your birth take place in a hospital or at home?
I was born at Charity Hospital in Pineville, Louisiana on December the 7th, 1946, Pearl Harbor Day.
Oh my God, you got some questions answered right there. I was gonna ask you, but your birthday and stuff, but you got that. Okay, what is your mother's full name and date of birth?
Bertha Louise Riley, June 18th, 1920.
Okay, and then what is your father's full name and date of birth?
Robert Leonard Riley, March 1st, 1919.
Okay.
March 11th.
Oh, March 11th, yeah.
Okay, we got that. And do you know your maternal grandparents? Their names?
I know Mama Kate, Katie Hollins, and I know Monroe Hollins.
Okay. Yeah, your paternal grandparents. What was their names?
Mama, I called her Mama. I just found out her name was Frances, but I remember she used to keep me when I was a little kid before I went to a school, which was right up the street from my house. They would drop me off there, and I would stay there before I walked up to school. And I used to walk in her house, and I used to always look up at the thing there, the picture of a white man up there. And I used to say, Mama, what that white man doing up there? and to come find out that was her father. I never knew that.
Oh, wow.
That was my great-grandfather.
Okay.
Yeah, and so.
You know his name?
What was his name? Bowman Johnson. That was his name. And then Popeye, his name was Edward Johnson.
Okay, there's another Edward.
I just knew Popeye in my mind, so my middle name is after Uncle Popeye. His name was Edward.
Okay, a lot of Edwards.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what do you remember about your mother from growing up?
I remember that she worked hard, and she always made sure that we had what we needed. She would fix us lunch before she go to work at the tuna factory out there in San Pedro, and leave us lunch money and stuff. That she was always hard working, trying to give us what we needed.
Lucky blessed. Okay, and then what do you remember about your father from growing up?
Well, we try to try to do what was right, because we know we had whippings coming if we didn't. And he worked hard. He provided for what we needed, but he had to. He also went out and had fun with the fellas and things like that. But he made sure we went to church. We was there from Sunday school right on through BYPU, all the way through the night service, everything. So we was in church all the time. That's one thing they did. They gave it that foundation for
You did good.
church. Yeah.
Yeah, because you might leave, but you always come back.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what is your first childhood memory?
My first childhood memory.
When you woke you up in this life?
I think the first thing I remember was like when I was walking in some big cowboy boots, I fell and cut a little plug out my knee. And they had to take me to the hospital there in Pineville, and they held me down and they sewed my knee up without giving me any anesthesia or anything like that. I think I might have been about 5 or 6 or something. And I remember the doctor kept telling me, Charlie, calling me Charlie. My mother said, his name is not Charlie, his name is Charles Edward Riley. That's what I named him, you called him Charles.
Oh,
and
man.
that's what they did. So I remember that because I think I remember every stitch that went in. Because they held me
Well,
down
that's traumatic.
without anesthesia. And then I think 6 weeks later or something, I had to go get them removed. And I was hiding out because I was scared. I didn't want to go back. And Daddy found me hiding in the sawmill behind the house. And he told me, he said he wasn't going to let them hurt me. So he took me up there and it didn't hurt, so he kept his promise.
Oh,
They
that's
took the
nice.
stitches out, so.
That's good. I didn't know that about you. Okay, and then
Well, that's why I tell everybody now, my name is Charles Edward.
Charles Edward.
that's what it is. Okay, do you have any siblings?
Yeah.
And then what are their names?
June Francis, Robert Jr., and Don Ray.
Okay.
And, you know, Robert Jr. didn't know his middle name was Leonard till he came out here. He thought his middle name was Junior.
Oh yeah.
Till he went to school and they tell him out that his middle name was Leonard. Then he had to learn how to spell it.
Oh my God. Okay, what was your favorite hobby in your free time?
My favorite hobby, I like to play baseball when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it, with sports and hanging out with the fellas and finding out the fruit trees that was ripe and raiding the fruit trees.
Yeah. Your sister have a story about you in a tree.
Oh,
It's on her video. The first one I did. I think I might just keep theirs anyway on there. Okay, I forgot what kind of tree it was, but
a China berry tree.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
got stuck in the tree and they couldn't get down.
okay, yeah. So you was in the fruit trees.
Yeah, I was a little kid and I wanted to climb the tree and they stuck me up there and couldn't get me down.
She
called
got in
Daddy.
trouble.
Yeah, they all got in trouble.
You was a baby then, probably.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
I'll tell you a story about being that. Robert Jr. and Richard, we were down in Louisiana when we lived on Sycamore. And Daddy and them had bought some liquor and they hid it. Robert Jr. and Richard found it, they drank it, and they poured some water in it. And so they come walking up the street staggering and falling all over the place. And they wanted to know what was going on. And they found out that the boys was drunk. They drank Daddy and them liquor.
Robert and Richard.
Robert and Richard.
Oh my God.
Daddy was gonna whip him, but he said he was too sick to whip him.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, so okay, did you have any animals or pets growing up?
Nope.
Okay.
I
Pigeons.
did try to raise some pigeon once. Yeah, I had to build a little pigeon coop in the backyard, and I went out there that morning to feed the pigeon, and the cat had got in there and ate them, and I got to running and stuff. And Mama told me I had to come home and bury them, and I stayed away, Mama, so because I didn't want to bury them. When I got home, Mama had already did it.
So that only lasts like one day. That's why you forgot about it.
About a week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, before the cat got in there. I built the pigeon coop myself and had gaps in it, and the cat
Got in it.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, that's good though. At least you tried it. Okay, so what was your favorite hobby in your free time?
Just getting in trouble.
I don't get in trouble, trying to stay out of trouble. No, we was at the park most of the time. We ran to the park. It was a bunch of us, and what we do in the summertime is everybody get money and buy 2 soda pops, and we have teams, like 3 different teams, and we play each other, and whoever win the championship get all the sodas. And it'd be like hot during the summertime, and somebody got 4 sodas and drinking them in front of you.
Kids, man.
Yeah.
Okay, what was your first job and how old were you?
Yeah, my first job was when we moved out here. They had a bean field up there by Walton Junior High School. And I think I was about 8 or 9, and so I went around there to pick beans. And the guy said I can pick beans, so I picked beans for about a week. And then I told Mama, I was picking beans. She said, go ahead on. And I picked them in a week. They gave me a check for $8.
Wow.
And I had to walk down a mile to cash the check. Now, I'm 8 years old with a check. I had to walk down to this store that was owned by the people who owned the bean field, cash the check. I spent $4 in food to eat while I was walking back home. And I got back home and told Mama I made $8. She said, you ain't going out there no more. So that was my first job.
Yeah. Oh, that's good though. I mean, it's some experience, even though they didn't pay you much, but That's good.
Well, I didn't pick much. You got
so
paid
grandmama
by the weight.
took care of you. She
You
was
got
like,
paid by the
they
weight,
ain't taking
so
advantage of you.
Yeah, I was only 8 years old. You got paid by the weight.
Well, that's good. Okay, then
Go back again.
what is your occupation? Well, before your occupation, I know you was in the military.
Yeah,
Yeah, what conflict or war did you serve in?
I was in Vietnam.
Oh, okay. All right, great. And then what was your occupation or trade? I know you retired, but your last one, what was your occupation or trade? And did you have multiple professions over the years?
Yeah, I did. Well, you know, when I was in the military, I started off, I was supposed to be a clerk. But when I went to Vietnam, I ended up being a machine gunner on a helicopter. I did that, and then when I came back, they didn't have no positions in stateside for a machine gun on a helicopter, so they asked me what I wanted to do. Told me I could be a photographer, so I did a photography for the last 8 months before I got out.
Oh.
When I got out, I got a job at Firestone Tire and Rubber Company, and I was called a Banbury operator. And that's a machine that mixes rubber. It's a real dirty job, and I said, I don't want to do this all my life. And your daddy, Willard, was a cop in Compton. He said, well, why don't you take the test? So I took the test and became a cop.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Okay, so you got into law enforcement.
Yeah.
All right, and so we know you got married.
Yeah.
Norma was your first one.
Yeah.
Okay, so where did you meet her? And we'll get to Aunt Dolores.
I met her down at the bottom. Bottom was a street called in Lantana. We call it the bottom because it was a hill. And Norma lived in the bottom across the street from where Francis lived. And Robert Jr. used to go down there all the time, and him and stuff. And I'll be at the park playing baseball and something. You ought to come down here and meet this girl Norma. And yeah, fine. I guess after a while I went down there and I met Norma, and we ended up getting married.
And took off from there.
Yeah.
Okay, and then your current spouse, Dolores.
Yeah.
Okay, and then where did you meet her?
And I first saw her in the 7th grade at Walton Junior High School.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know, I seen her, but we never had any classes together, anything like that. And then probably about 40 years after we graduated from high school or something like that, we had a class reunion. And she was living in Maryland at the time, so she came to the class reunion, and we met up there. She had been married and divorced, had 2 kids. I was married and divorced, had 2 kids, and we met there, we talked, and we corresponded. When she was moving back to Maryland, we ended up seeing each other a few times in between that. She'd come out here and then we'd go back, and so we went on, decided to go on a cruise together because she went to New York to see her granddaughter graduate from school back there, get her bachelor. And when we went back there, we took a cruise. We decided we were going to get married on the cruise.
Wow.
And we couldn't do it because you have to make a pre-arrange for that. But when we got back, we ended up getting married at the courthouse in New York City. And she got on a plane, a train and went to Maryland. I got on a plane and came to Los Angeles.
Wow. Long distance, but it's a good love story.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what's the best advice you could give your grandkids, your great grands, or any great children that come along?
Well, the same advice that our parents gave us. First of all, they took us to church and told us to always be faithful and trust in God, and then to work hard, go to school. You know, right now they need education because education is the new currency. You get education if you get education and you learn what read and learn what you read, remember what you read. There's nothing you can't do. So you need to be educated to deal with what's going on in the world today.
Good, that's right. All right, and then what do you want people to remember the most about you?
That I was kind and I did what I could do to be the best I could be.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Okay. Well, thank you, Uncle Charles.
All right.
That's what I forgot to tell you.